Why Jesus? Well, interesting question. For me, it's a really good question because for me, in my life experience, it's been answered on many different levels. I guess for the start of my life, when I didn't know God and when I was, a teenager growing up, and I knew lots about God, I knew lots about Jesus, but didn't know Jesus until I went off the rails a fair bit and got into drinking and drugs and nightlife scene and whatever. And it wasn't until I was 21 where I watched this movie, What Becomes of the Brokenhearted, and I just was so brokenhearted myself that I couldn't keep watching it and I had to walk outside. And at that moment, I was so brokenhearted, but then I felt this presence of God or Jesus just surround me, and he said, "I'm here to help you then." And I said, "Good, well, help me." And right at that moment, my heart just, bang, exploded back together. My broken heart became one, and it was just bizarre. And the next day I was delivered of some demons. When I said I've asked God into my life, as I was saying it, I just got giddy and things came up the back of my spine and out the back of my head, and it happened 3 times. And it was just amazing. So I was so excited to have found Jesus and to have found God. But then, not by any faults of the church, but I was in a church and I guess it was doing its best, and all it ever knew was knowing God, not necessarily on a relationship basis, but on more of a works mentality basis. So unfortunately, over the next 3 years, I sort of served God, but didn't really know Jesus. And I remember looking in the mirror and going, who the hell am I and who the hell are you? If you're real, I really need to know you and experience you like a relationship. And so that was why Jesus, because I think that's the beautiful thing is like Jesus saves you from the world, but then I also got saved virtually a second time because I virtually got saved from religion. So that's why I love Jesus. Why sanctuary? Well, I think with anything you need to be able to feel like you're growing, and I was just thinking about we're in a bit of a drought at the moment, and you can have the biggest tree in the world that produces the most amount of shade, but if it still doesn't get any water, it's going to eventually die and not grow. And the thing I love about sanctuary is that it's open to the Spirit, and I really see the Spirit, and I don't just mean like a Pentecostal movement, I mean way more than that. It's like more connecting. The Spirit for me, it allows me to connect with God, and it allows me to not operate on a natural level. It brings me into the heavenly realms with God, and it allows me to be in the Holy of Holies with Jesus sort of thing, with God himself. So why sanctuary? I just love it how sanctuary embrace the Spirit and encourage you as a person and work as a body so that you're always growing and that you're always being fed in the Spirit, so that you're always growing in your relationship with God, but also with each other. Because it's interesting, like you can have all the correct theology in the world, but at the end of the day, you still need Jesus, and you still need relationship with others, and you still need the body. So there's so much more to God than just correct theology. It's more about relationship and being in relationship with community, and that's what I love about Sanctuary, is that they're non-judgmental. Unfortunately, some of the church slips into very judgmental practices, but I guess they love each and every person for who they are because of their identity, meaning as a son or daughter of God, and not what they do. And that's what I love about Sanctuary, is they just love people for who they are, and they want to see them grow to be all that they can be.